He wouldn't be my first choice for the lead actor in this movie. He's the type of person I would call a potluck thief. He comes, he eats, and doesn't really bring anything of substance. So The Island Block Sound is another movie available on Netflix. It came out in 2020, but for some reason, I'm just now seeing it on my little playlist. It's about this strange force taking place on this island that's causing people and animals to act crazy. It opens up with a couple of friends at a diner. They're talking about different conspiracy theories, going back and forth, and it kind of foreshadows what to expect in the movie. I thought cinematically, the way that this movie looked was done pretty well. It definitely gives you the vibe of this blue collar town. It's on an island as well, so you get this feeling of being isolated from everyone else. And they do a good job at showing us the island by itself covered by all this water, and really reinforces the concept that they're going for. The movie as a whole, not very good. You know how weathermen tell you how hot or how cold it is and then tell you what it really feels like? Well, this movie is about an hour and a half long, but it feels like 3 hours, and that's not a good thing. I watched it at night and had to actually rewatch it because I fell asleep. Less definitely could have been more. There's so much dead time that goes on that you kind of check out a lot during this film. I think part of the reason why it feels so long is that there's a lot of scenes where people are just staring off into the distance, and then there's these violin sounds where they're just holding one long note. So much staring. As far as that little note that they hold, I know a lot of different movies have done it in the past. Christopher Nolan does it a lot during the Batman franchise, but when he did it, we actually got some type of reward at the end of that climactic buildup. And in here, we just go to the next scene. It doesn't really have a payoff, and they just constantly do it. If it was a lot less of that and this movie was cut down maybe 20 minutes, it probably could have ended up being a decent movie. The scenes are just entirely too drawn out for it to be great. And some of the parts in the movie make no sense at all. Who's really going to a grocery store during a funeral? Really? While I was rewatching it, I really thought there was a lot of potential that could have been done. At times, it gave me vibes of movies like Midsummer and Hereditary. And I feel like maybe if it was directed by somebody else, it could have been a good movie. Everything else probably would have just fell into place and worked. With a movie like this, the acting is decent. Nobody really steals the show. Neville Archambault, pretty sure that's not how you pronounce it. He plays the dad. It took me a minute. I knew I recognized that pervy slumlord. He doesn't have a lot of memorable lines, but his figure and the way that he looks throughout the film is what really catches your attention. He's not really in this movie too long, but he serves his purpose and sets everything up for how it needs to play out. Everything really seems to be based around Chris Sheffield's character. He plays the son. He's not that great in my opinion. Apparently he's been in 2 Maze Runner movies, but I don't remember him in any of them. He wouldn't be my first choice for the lead actor in this movie. He's the type of person I would call a potluck thief. He comes, he eats, and doesn't really bring anything of substance. He's bland, he lacks emotion, and it feels like he did this movie as a side gig versus a main role. Not convincing at all. I did, however, feel like Michelle McManus was the best character in the movie. She plays the sister and the sibling that's more mature. Obviously, SVU definitely did her well because every scene that she's in, she brings groundness to it and moves it along in a positive way. Not really a lot of screen time, but just enough to keep us vested in her character and wanting to root for her to solve what's going on. As a whole, I thought the concept of this movie was pretty vague and they string you along for quite a long time. It takes them about an hour to tell us what some guy in a mobile home tells us in about 5 minutes. And I really don't know why. It's not this complex Nolan style film. And I felt it was kind of a letdown when we finally get to the creature that everything's being centered around. All in all, I'd say this is more of a background type movie. If you're having trouble sleeping at night and you don't like narcotics, throw this on, you'll be out in no time. The concept is okay, but it definitely misses the mark. I don't know how many people will remember this, but if you're into movies like The Forgotten, then I think you'll like this one. I really went back and forth as to how to rate this movie. It's not so bad that it's terrible, it's just good enough. So I'd say The Island Block Sound is a good movie to catch when you can. Have you seen The Island Block Sound? What'd you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and attack the comments section. Peace.